Have you ever taken a bite of your favorite food and suddenly felt as if something was not right? As if the flavor had faded into something metallic, distant, or completely unfamiliar, leaving you confused and even a little discouraged? Because food is not just fuel, it is comfort, memory, and connection. And when that begins to change, it feels like a part of your life is quietly slipping away. For many people living with chronic kidney disease, this is not just a passing moment, but a daily reality. A silent struggle that affects not only the body, but also the mind and spirit. And yet, what if this experience is not the end of enjoyment, but the beginning of awareness? A signal from your body asking you to listen more closely than ever before. Because within every challenge lies a message, and within every message lies an opportunity to grow stronger, wiser, and more in tune with yourself than you have ever been. When the body begins to accumulate toxins due to reduced kidney function, it does not always shout for attention. Sometimes it whispers through subtle changes, like taste and smell, and those whispers can easily be ignored or misunderstood. But as Dr. Mathew R. Weir has often emphasized through his teachings, the body has a remarkable way of communicating its internal state, and those small signals, when understood, can guide us toward better decisions and healthier outcomes, even when the situation feels overwhelming. Imagine for a moment that your body is not working against you, but trying to protect you, trying to adapt, trying to survive, even when conditions are not ideal. And that strange taste you experience is not a punishment, but a message, a reflection of what is happening deep within, where imbalances, such as zinc deficiency and toxin buildup, begin to influence how your senses respond to the world around you. It is easy to feel frustrated, to lose motivation, and to withdraw from the simple joy of eating. But this is where your mindset becomes your greatest ally, because the way you interpret your experience will shape the way you respond to it. And if you choose to see it as a barrier, it will limit you. But if you choose to see it as a guide, it can empower you to take control in ways you never imagined. Think about how many times in life challenges have forced you to adapt, to change, and to grow beyond what you thought was possible. And this moment is no different. Because even though chronic kidney disease brings its own set of difficulties, it also invites you to become more intentional with your choices, more aware of your body, and more committed to your well-being than ever before. The journey may not be easy, and there will be days when the lack of appetite or the unpleasant taste makes you want to give up. But those are the moments that define your strength, the moments where you decide whether to surrender or to rise. And rising does not mean ignoring the problem. It means facing it with courage, learning about it, and taking small, consistent steps toward improvement. You are not alone in this experience. And more importantly, you are not powerless, because knowledge is power. And understanding what your body is going through is the first step toward reclaiming control. And when you begin to make simple changes, whether it is adjusting your diet, staying mindful of your nutrient intake, or finding creative ways to make food enjoyable again, you are not just managing a condition, you are transforming your relationship with your body and your health. This is your reminder that even when something as basic as taste begins to change, it does not define your future. It challenges you to redefine your approach, to rediscover your resilience, and to reconnect with the deeper purpose of taking care of yourself. Because true strength is not measured by the absence of struggle, but by the willingness to keep moving forward despite it. And as you continue on this journey, remember that every small effort you make is a step toward a better, healthier, and more empowered version of yourself. But there comes a moment in this journey when the struggle deepens, when it is no longer just about a strange taste or a fading appetite, but about the quiet emotional weight that begins to build within you, the kind that makes you question whether things will ever feel normal again. And this is where the real test begins, not in the body, but in the mind. Because uncertainty has a way of amplifying discomfort, turning small challenges into overwhelming obstacles. And if you're not careful, it can slowly convince you that this is something you cannot overcome. Yet this is precisely the moment where awareness must transform into action, where you begin to understand that what you are experiencing is not random. It is a process, one that can be managed, influenced, and even improved with the right approach and mindset. Deep within your body, changes are happening that you cannot see. Toxins that are no longer filtered efficiently begin to circulate, subtly affecting your senses, and alongside this, essential nutrients like zinc may fall out of balance, quietly altering the way your taste receptors function. And what once brought joy now feels distant or unpleasant. But here is the truth that often goes unnoticed. Your body is still capable of adaptation, still capable of responding to the care you give it. And this is where your role becomes powerful, because every choice you make begins to shape your experience. As Dr. Mathew R. Weir has often highlighted through his insights, understanding the why behind your symptoms can completely change the way you respond to them. Because when you know that there is a reason, a biological explanation, you stop blaming yourself, you stop feeling lost, and you begin to see a path forward. And that path may start small, with simple adjustments like choosing foods that are easier on your senses, experimenting with flavors that feel more tolerable, or paying closer attention to your body's signals instead of ignoring them. But here is where the suspense lies. Because not every solution works instantly. Not every effort brings immediate results. And there will be moments when you try and it still feels the same. When you put in the effort and the progress seems invisible. And this is where most people begin to lose hope. Not because change is impossible, but because it is gradual, quiet, and often hidden beneath the surface. And if you give up too soon, you miss the breakthrough that was just beginning to take shape. Imagine standing at the edge of transformation, unaware that your consistency is slowly rebuilding what felt broken, that each small step is contributing to a larger shift within your body, even if you cannot taste it yet, even if you cannot feel it fully. Because healing is not always loud or immediate. Sometimes it is silent, patient, and waiting for you to trust the process. This is where discipline becomes more important than motivation, because motivation comes and goes, especially when things feel difficult. But discipline keeps you moving forward, even on the days when you feel tired, frustrated, or discouraged. And in those moments, it is not about doing everything perfectly. It is about doing something, anything that keeps you aligned with your goal of better health and improved well-being. You may begin to notice subtle changes, a slight improvement in how certain foods taste, a small return of appetite, or even just a shift in your mindset, where you no longer feel defeated but determined. And those small victories matter more than you realize, because they are signs that your efforts are working, that your body is responding, and that you are moving in the right direction. The challenge is not just physical, it is deeply psychological, because it requires you to believe in progress before you fully experience it, to stay committed even when the results are not immediately visible, and to trust that your body is capable of more than it may currently show. This is the turning point, the moment where you decide whether to let the condition define your limits or to use it as a reason to push beyond them, to become more aware, more intentional, and more resilient than ever before. Because within this struggle lies the opportunity to build a stronger connection with yourself, one that is rooted not in comfort, but in understanding, patience, and unwavering determination to keep going, no matter how slow the progress may seem. And then, something begins to shift, not all at once, not in a dramatic or overwhelming way, but quietly, steadily, almost imperceptibly at first. And it is in this subtle transformation that you realize the true power of persistence. Because what once felt like an endless struggle starts to feel manageable. What once felt confusing begins to make sense. And what once felt discouraging slowly turns into a source of strength. And this is the moment where you understand that your journey was never just about taste or smell. It was about learning how to listen to your body in a deeper, more meaningful way. It was about discovering resilience you did not know you had. And it was about proving to yourself that even in the face of discomfort, you have the ability to adapt, to improve, and to rise beyond your circumstances. As you continue forward, you begin to recognize patterns. You learn which foods support your body and which ones challenge it. You become more mindful of how you nourish yourself. And this awareness becomes your greatest tool, because it gives you a sense of control that once felt out of reach. And with that control comes confidence, the kind that does not rely on perfection, but on progress, the kind that grows stronger with every small victory, every intentional choice, and every moment where you choose not to give up. The teachings often associated with Dr. Mathew R. Weir remind us that understanding the body is not about fear. It is about empowerment. It is about turning knowledge into action, and action into transformation. And when you embrace this mindset, you begin to see your condition not as a limitation, but as a call to live more consciously, more intentionally, and more fully than ever before. You start to appreciate the small improvements, the days when food tastes just a little better, the moments when your appetite returns even slightly. And instead of dismissing these changes, you celebrate them, because you understand that progress is built on these small, consistent steps, and each one brings you closer to a better state of health and well-being. There will still be challenges. There will still be days when things feel difficult, but now you are different. Now you're equipped with knowledge, awareness, and a mindset that refuses to surrender, and that makes all the difference. Because true strength is not about avoiding hardship. It is about facing it with clarity, patience, and determination. You have learned to trust the process, to remain consistent even when results are slow, and to believe in your ability to improve even when the journey feels uncertain, and that belief becomes the foundation upon which everything else is built. This is where transformation becomes real, not just in your physical health, but in your perspective, your habits, and your approach to life. Because when you overcome something that once felt overwhelming, you carry that strength into every other area of your life, and suddenly, what once seemed impossible begins to feel achievable. You are no longer defined by the challenges you face. You are defined by how you respond to them, by the choices you make, and by the determination you show day after day, even when no one else is watching, even when the progress feels slow, because you know that every step forward matters, and that nothing you do for your health is ever wasted. So keep going, keep learning, keep adapting, and most importantly, keep believing in your ability to create change, because your journey is not over, it is evolving, and with every passing day, you're becoming stronger, wiser, and more in control than you have ever been before. If you're benefiting from our topics, please subscribe, like, and turn on the bell notification so you can see our new videos early.